I'm sorry, but I interrupted you. You were just saying, so it came out.
Oh,
in
no, I was going to say, it came out.
And when I wrote it, I didn't even mention Trump. I think he's mentioned once in the original text.
Well, and you also, if I recall correctly, you never mentioned Bernie Sanders, probably because it was written too early. But when I was listening to it, which I guess was a few months after it came out, and the Democratic primary had just wrapped up, and I remember listening to this book and thinking that what this is a code key to the basic thing that was going on in that primary, because you had all these things that never made sense to me fell into place about the way that, for example, the supporters of Hillary Clinton would endlessly talk about how she was the most qualified candidate who had ever run. Yes. And of course, even on its own terms, it's a slightly dubious claim. You've had people who were former vice presidents and whatever, it doesn't matter, right? But the more interesting question is, why was it that they thought that this should be the checkmate argument, that of course this is the person you want, because look at how qualified she is, right?
I know.
That what
but that's because the meritocracy. Wait, you're going to have Fred.
Yeah.
You're going to have Fredrik deBoer on here in a second, right? I mean, this is it. It's all about in fact, here he comes. But there he is. I can see him on my screen. But can the viewers see him?
Yes, they can.
But but that is the basic argument from meritocracy. Which is, meritocracy really is the, classes have ideologies. They have this sort of worldview that's associated with them. And that is meritocracy is the worldview of this sort of professional white collar elite that you're describing.
Yeah, because
that is absolutely how they see the world. And since then, there's been a number of good books come out about the whole problem of meritocracy. And I think it's more, the problem is so much worse than anything than the way I put it in Listen Liberal. It's just, it's so dreadful. And I don't see, I'm talking about the way that, you go to one of these 5 or 6 or 7 universities, your entire life trajectory is determined by that. You go to a school that's not one of those 7 universities, and you're basically, you're screwed. And there's, anyhow, we can talk about this. We'll talk about this some other time, because we're getting pretty far away from populism. But needless to say, populism is the opposite of all that stuff.
Well, I think this is interesting, right? Because I think this is obviously what Listen Liberal is about, but it's also what the last part of your book is about the book is a brief history of anti-populism, right? And this is a key part of that story of self-conscious anti-populism, is the rise of a version of liberalism that, whatever the complications were of New Deal, Great Society liberalism, which shouldn't be romanticized, that at the same time that he was implementing Great Society programs, Lyndon Johnson was committing war crimes in Vietnam that, verged on the genocidal. But there is this really important shift between seeing industrial workers often as the natural base of the Democratic Party, trying to speak a language that centers concerns that would make sense to those constituencies. And then
on the other hand, doing the Bill Clinton thing, where it's like, well, you people have been made obsolete by history, and so we, the Democratic Party, we want to be on the side of the people who are going to be the winners in the new economy.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton bragged about how she.
That's right. That's sort of the capstone of it all. But it began years earlier. With the Democratic leadership. I'm so much older than you guys. The Democratic Leadership Council. Do you know what this was?
Yeah.
This was the group that moved. Their object was to move the Democratic Party to the right. They were ferociously against organized labor and et cetera, and constantly denouncing working class people. And their grand idea became, we need to embrace the new economy that's coming, the information age, but, which is like, okay, fair enough. So, the economy is changing. I get that. But here's the key point. They wanted to embrace the winners in this new economic order, not the, I mean, there's still going to be workers in the new order, of course, even though the means of production change, you're still going to have, millions and millions of working class people. But their idea was, no, we want to be on the side of the ones they called the learning class, also known as the creative class. And you're familiar with this whole literature of
So actually, I'm glad that we're joined by Fredrik deBoer before Thomas has to leave, because there's
I've got a bourbon bottle in the other room that's calling out for me. By the way,
well, I mean, feel free to pour one and stay here, but nothing. I'm certainly not going to object to that. But because I think that what you really talk about in Listen Liberal is this conception of progressivism where their conception of social justice just is unhindered meritocracy, that what social injustice is would be racism or sexism or anything else like that.
Ask yourself, why is that? Why is that? Why are they so focused on, I mean, those are bad things, obviously. But what about, there's lots of other like awful antisocial attitudes out there that they just don't give a shit about, right?
Because what's seen as the unjust thing about those is that these are artificial blocks to the best and the brightest from each group.
Boom. Yes.
Rising to the
Isn't
top.
that fascinating?
It is, and so joined by Fredrik deBoer, who has written a book called The Cult of Smart. How a broken education system perpetuates social injustice, which is all about this meritocratic worldview and what's wrong with it, right? That like one way of understanding it is to say, look, of course, as anybody who's, spent time, as I have, teaching at different places, around people from, very affluent backgrounds, knows we're very far from living in a genuine meritocracy, no doubt about that. But meritocracy, Freddie argues, wouldn't actually be all that great if we had it.
Oh my God, it would be awful. Are you kidding me? Oh, wait, I bet you want me to shut up, and it's time for me to shut up. I should let you two go. I should let you two chat.
All right. Well, go enjoy your bourbon.
But can I'll watch you guys a little bit. But I just wanted to say I love the title. I love Freddie's title, The Cult of Smart. And in a certain kind of, I went to graduate school years ago, and I used to hang around with people who basically used the word smart as interchangeable with correct. That was just that for them. I mean, the title is so exact in getting at a certain personality type and a certain way of thinking. Anyhow, I think it's great. So.
Correct, good, worthy of the good things in life.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you so much for coming on, Thomas. This is fantastic. I hope you can come back.
You got it, man.
All right. Thanks.